Jordan, would you please join me on the stage here? We have Jordan Weiss, who is, yeah, gonna go all crazy here. All right, perfect. Here you are. Welcome.
Thank you, Pep. Good to be with you, and I'm glad to be with everyone here. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're tuning in from. Yeah, today I'm going.
I'll just get out of your way so you own the stage, share your screens, and you're good to go.
All right, excellent. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and we'll get right underway. All right, bear with me one moment. Let's just increase this. Turn that into a slideshow. All right. Can you see what I'm seeing? Okay. Again, thanks for everyone for having me on today. I wanted to spend some time today to talk about a component of building go-to-market strategies and what's that X factor that can really make go-to-market strategies winning strategy and help companies really rise above the noise. So one component that we at Compi focus on is the data. We are a company that provides competitive and market intelligence. So that what does that exactly mean? That means that we provide a way for companies to really build an intelligence initiative within their organizations, and that really informs how to adapt and craft your go-to-market strategies. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what I'm talking about here. Okay, now let's face it, we all have seen our share of challenges over the last year. With the pandemic and the economic fallout that has occurred, we've seen many companies in our spaces come and go. Many companies that we used to compete with have fallen by the wayside, and many companies also have flourished within this environment. So what we believe is the companies that are really able to flourish within the pandemic have been able to develop an organization where and a go-to-market strategy where they really are able to adapt and shift their go-to-market strategies based on looking at industry trends, based on the available data that they can pull in, and be able to make those changes in the market and really capitalize on the potential opportunity out there. And that's really why we're here today, is what can we do to build and maintain go-to-market strategies that are going to provide us the opportunity to capitalize on market trends, market opportunities, and really rise above the noise in our space. So what we're going to do today is we're going to look at really the value of competitive and market intelligence and how that drives go-to-market strategy, and really how that informs the teams that are building and maintaining that strategy. We're going to take a quick look at where they go wrong. I'm sure we've heard on a number of the presentations today is kind of the pitfalls that product marketers and marketing professionals see and kind of run into when they're building and maintaining go-to-market strategies. So we're going to continue with that. We'll take a look at some of the some of the lessons learned from the market, and then really how the intelligence-driven strategies can be built, what goals to have in mind, what KPIs to track, and really how the data can help drive the path forward. Okay, so I'm hoping that many of you have seen this infographic before. This infographic is one of my favorites. This is the marketing tech stack infographic. These are all the companies that are competing in the marketing technology world. And what I believe is this infographic that was built by Scott Brinker and his team that gets put out every year is a good example of where we find ourselves in the market, regardless of what industry we're in, regardless of what product or service we sell. The reason why I find this so interesting is because it's a microcosm of where all industries are going right now. And it's really the reason why we're here today talking. You'll see this infographic started in 2011. In 2011, there were approximately 150 companies competing in the marketing technology space. Over the years, you see it has absolutely exploded. The number of companies by 2019 was over 7,000, and I believe that they put out one last year that took the number actually up to and over 8,000. So there's 8,000 companies in the marketing technology space competing for your dollars. This is a prime example of why it's so important to understand what your competitive landscape looks like and how that inform your go-to-market strategies. The industries are getting more and more competitive. You're seeing more companies that coming into spaces, emerging companies coming up. You know, the old adage, two guys, a dog in a garage is becoming commonplace, where companies are building from the ground up. Many companies are emerging, coming into the space. You're also seeing other companies that were in adjacent spaces starting to move into other spaces and start competing more and more. So it's an interesting sort of an economic Darwinism we'll find ourselves in. The companies that are strongest are the ones that are that are flourishing and doing well, and the companies that don't have the right fundamentals and the right strategies and be able to adapt based on market opportunities, those are the ones that are falling by the wayside. So what we're seeing is an industry, regardless of what product or service you sell, we're seeing industries become more and more competitive. So this is a great example of the importance of intelligence informing a go-to-market strategy and why it's so important to understand your competitive and market landscape when building that strategy. Okay, so some common mishaps we see with go-to-market strategies. So we've heard this on a number of sessions today, and they all kind of ring, true. Whether it's not understanding who your customers are, not understanding the full scope of the product, as in our previous presentation, really failing to grasp the why. Why are we developing this product? Why are we developing this strategy and pushing that out to market? Failing to validate the go-to-market ideas before executing, sort of that ready, fire, aim approach to product launches we've seen all too often. And not understanding how the customer defines success. Are you producing a product or a service that the customer wants? Are you understanding what challenges that they're facing, what problems that they have that we can help solve? Really understanding the customer and what keeps them up at night and addressing their needs in the marketplace, and really being proactive and anticipating what their needs are to move forward. And then we've all seen this: getting to market too quickly. Getting to market too quickly is all too common. We have a certain date we need to work towards, regardless of whether we have everything we need to execute, whether it's the business use case, the messaging platform, the sales enablement, and all the materials that go with it, making sure that we've got that in place before we get to market. So what's the common thread here? What's the common thread across all these mishaps? What we believe is that common thread is not having the right intel at the right time to inform that strategy. So, this isn't just competitive intel, this is market intel, this is customer intel. It's all across your market landscape, understanding the trends, being able to spot the trends, being able to understand what your competitors are doing, and so on, to be able to pull all that data in, analyze it, and use that to inform a key go-to-market strategy. So here's a little walk down memory lane. These are some products that have been put out in the past that have failed for one reason or another. If you're old enough to remember, you remember New Coke. Coca-Cola was starting to lose market share back in the 80s, and they needed to do something to kind of boost their market share. Well, they came out with the idea of changing up their recipe that had been in place for over 100 years. So they changed their recipe, came up with a new flavor, a new recipe of Coke called New Coke. Well, didn't work. That wasn't the reason why they were losing market share. It wasn't the product itself. It was a number of other reasons. So that's kind of missing the mark, not taking all that market data, taking all that information in to understand what the problem is you're trying to solve. And that's one of the reasons why New Coke never made it, never made it in the market. Another is Google Glass. Google Glasses was a really cool idea. Glasses that project on the lens, certain things that you would see in a smartphone. Great idea. Did the market need it? Was it a problem that Google was trying to solve? No, it was one of those instances where the company focused on the product rather than focused on rather than pulling in the information about the customer. The market just wasn't ready for something like that. So you'll see a bunch of other ones. You've got the Sony Betamax. If you're as old as I am, you'll remember the Betamax, the Apple Newton, the Segway, which is supposed to revolutionize transportation, which now basically is just a way for tourists to get around cities, to take a tour of the city. Didn't really get to where it was promised to be. All right, so I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on defining goals because we've spent a lot of time throughout the sessions today and building go-to-market strategies, but really this is core to building a strategy, is defining your goals. What's the industry standard for success? Again, are we solving a problem that our customers have? How do they assess what's successful in the market? What are your customers, what are the rules that they're playing by, and really understanding what they need in that market. What intel do you need to differentiate? There's terabytes and terabytes of intel that you can pull into your organization that can help inform your strategies. But what you really need to do is really pull that in, tighten that up, and understand what are the core pieces of information that we really need to differentiate ourselves in the market. Is it solving a new problem? Is it anticipating a specific need of a customer? Is it improving the service that we provide to a customer? It's what is that intelligence telling us that how we can differentiate in the market? What gaps are there in the market that we are trying to close and solve to rise ourselves above the noise? Where do we find that intel? This is one of the hardest things. This is really why my company has come to market. It's understanding the vast digital landscape on which you can pull all this information in. It becomes very overwhelming. So having a system where you can automate that process of looking across a digital landscape and pulling in the right data and then analyzing that data in an efficient manner that filters out the noise and only provides you that strategically relevant information, that's where you gain that key insights, that will help inform your go-to-market strategy. It can be extremely overwhelming if you try to undertake this in a manual fashion. It takes hours upon hours of doing manual research, and then you're inevitably going to miss something. So being able to automate that process and understanding the breadth and the depth of your competitive landscape and your market landscape to know where to pull that data in from is key. And then who's going to act on the insight collected? Is it going to be the sales team? Is it the product marketing team? Is it a combination of two? Is it a sales enablement organization within the organization? We know that product marketers many times own the go-to-market strategy in collaboration with other organizations. But taking that information that's informing the go-to-market strategy and making it actionable, building the right assets, building the right enablement materials that allow the go-to-market teams to go and execute in the market. It's really understanding that and looking across the organization and what are the key players, not just the stakeholders, but what are the key players that can help, that you can collaborate with to build that. Okay. Letting the data determine your path. This is I think one of the most critical components. Now, a strategy that changes every month or every quarter is not really a strategy. These knee-jerk reactions that you see many companies take based on one market anomaly is really a sign of weak leadership in the organization and really lacking in conviction. You have to set the guardrails. You have to set a go-to-market strategy that remains consistent as you execute, or else it just completely falls apart. On the other hand, it does have to be adaptable enough and not too rigid, that you can pivot with evolving information that comes in to the organization. The best companies are the companies that can adapt, that are agile enough to make these pivots in the market to be able to capitalize on market opportunity and avoid these market challenges and these pitfalls. So it's really a tight tap dance to understand what data you're going to be tracking, what KPIs do you need to track on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. What information are you pulling in to really inform that strategy, understand what you're defining, how you're defining success, and being able to stay within these guardrails down this path, but allow the data as it's coming in, if it's shifting, if it's shifting the market dynamics, being able to allow that data to inform pivots and adaptations to your overall market strategy. It's not easy, but go-to-market strategies have never been easy. All right, so a competitive and market intelligence initiative, how does that influence a go-to-market strategy? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it reduces the manual research that you need to do to collect the right information. It's an extremely time-consuming endeavor to go out and constantly follow your competitors, constantly follow your what's happening in your market, whether it's market news, and also what your partners are doing, what your customers are, where your customers are consuming information and where they're learning from. Automating that process and using that automation and creating workflows to automatically analyze and filter out irrelevant data and act upon that strategically relevant data is really going to create massive efficiencies in your organization and help continue to maintain that go-to-market strategy as you continue to succeed in the market. Identifying those actionable patterns in the market. The more information, the more data that you can take in and analyze properly, you're going to start to see patterns in the market. You're going to start to see patterns of what your customers are doing. You're going to see patterns of what your competitors are doing. What messaging are they using? What positioning are they using out in the marketplace? How are they interacting with the customers that you're seeing as well? Where's the market moving? What are the innovations that are starting to bubble up within the organization, within the industry rather? What are you seeing in terms of market gaps that you can use to inform a product roadmap? So these are the types of information that really inform that go-to-market strategy and inform across the entire organization. You know, as marketers, we're constantly playing with messaging. We're constantly playing with positioning. We own the story. We own the narrative. Having the right information at the right time helps us craft that narrative more effectively. So, I mean, that's common sense. We can, instead of guessing what the market, how the market's going to respond, we've got the data now to really inform how we build that messaging strategy and how we position ourselves in the market. We can automate the information that gets disseminated throughout the organization. This is really about getting the right information to the right team members at the right time in the way that they want to consume it. So your sales team is always going to be on top of market data, market information, what's happening with news, what their competitors are saying about them. So that's a really important piece. You can automate that and always keep real-time data flowing to the right people. So, and also, again, it's distributing the relevant insight. So it's not just sending the real-time information, it's sending the right information. It's what's strategically relevant to our organization versus what's, what is irrelevant or what's kind of, market noise that we really don't care about. This is going to help provide tighter alignment and shared purpose with key groups such as the sales organization. Now, let's face it, as marketers, we love doing messaging, we love owning go-to-market strategy, but let's be honest, what really brings us joy is getting sales to stop hassling us, okay, is to be happy with for sales to be happy with the information that marketing is providing them. We've all faced this finger pointing. If sales aren't closing deals, it's marketing's fault. Marketing's not providing the right type of information with them or to them. So creating this tighter alignment with sales through an intelligence-driven go-to-market strategy is really key to at the end of the day, really making your quarterly business reviews much more enjoyable for the marketing team. We can help identify the market opportunities and those industry gaps. We can create better product offerings. We can help inform the product roadmap to fill those gaps and understand where those opportunities are to provide greater features to the market. Crafting the better customer journey. It's providing the right content to the right customer at the right time, at the right stage in their customer journey. Having that intelligence to be able to understand how they're consuming information, what types of information they want to consume. That all helps create that better journey for the customer. Excuse me. Driving the right amount of urgency, understanding where those pressure points are for the customer, where we can alleviate some of those pressure points. It's having the right information. Is there a market event that's happening soon that is requiring a change in how we do things? A number of years ago, as an example, the EU rules around GDPR, as that was coming down the pike, many companies were jumping in and helping companies prepare for the regulations that came with GDPR. I mean, let's look at Y2K back in 100 years ago. Y2K, when that was coming down, someone realized, yes, this could be an issue, and there was an urgency created to make sure that systems were going to remain, provide that business continuity with the potential of this, Y2K effect. So things like that, all this intelligence from the market that you can help inform what's happening and inform how you go to market is vitally important. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's delivering the right information to the right people at the right time, and you can do that through this intelligence initiative. Okay, so at Compi, we've created this competitive intelligence framework. It's really it's a never-ending process. It's about collecting the intel, understanding where across your digital landscape the information is, automating that collection. It's it's defining what those needs are to be able to collect the right information. It's curating the insights. How do we analyze what's important, what's not important, what's aligning with our goals, what's aligning with the 3 to 5 KPIs that we're really tracking to understand whether our go-to-market strategy is successful or not. How are we sharing that with the right stakeholders? Whether it's the sales organization, whether it's the product teams, whether it's the C-suite, are they getting the right type of information? I mean, nobody wants to be wants to get that email from one of their from their CEO that says, "Hey, I just saw this competitor is doing XYZ in the marketplace. Did you know about this?" The answer should always be, yes, I did know about this. And the answer, and you should have that information, should be able to take this proactive approach. And the follow-on question is, what are we going to do about this? How are we addressing it? With the right information and understanding, you can take a more proactive approach to addressing market changes. And then it's all about measuring and iterating, changing, being adaptable to market conditions. But having the right data to be able to drive that path. So real quick, one of our customers is a company called Anyline. They're an innovator in the mobile space. They do data capture in the mobile space. They're in a very niche market. While their market is very niche, it's also highly competitive. There aren't very many, it's not a very big market, but it's very competitive. So they need to fight tooth and nail to get any market advantage that they can to succeed in their space. So what they realized was anytime that they would miss an update that a competitor was doing or an activity that they were doing in the marketplace, they would find themselves very quickly being put in a reactive position. They decided that they needed to kind of flip that script. They can't be put in a reactive mode. The market is too small, and it's too competitive to do that. So being able to automate their competitive and market intelligence initiatives and use that to inform their go-to-market strategies and continually adapt those go-to-market strategies has allowed them to take a leadership position in the marketplace, create a more efficient strategy and execution of that strategy. And really, at the end of the day, they're never missing anything in the marketplace. They're always on top of what's happening. So they're always having that foresight. They're always able to take, take a look at, 2 steps forward to understand where the market's heading, where are the patterns that they're seeing, to be able to be proactive and really beat their competitors to the punch in the market. All right, I just wanted to thank everybody. If you want to know a little bit more about Compi, go ahead and visit us at compi.com. You can actually take a trial of our platform and see how automating that competitive intelligence will provide benefit for your organization. If you have any questions for me, you can always email me at jordan@compi.com. But we'll go ahead. I'll end this. We'll go ahead and open back up to Pep and see if we have any questions.
Yeah, thank you very much. My question would be, can you walk me through an actual case study where, like, what type of intelligence did a company get? Then what did they do with that information, and then what happened? Do you have like a story?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, with Anyline as an example. you know, they are a very small, they're in a small niche market, but there are a lot of companies competing for that dollar in that market. Their customer base is, or their addressable market is not very large. So it's really important that they don't miss anything that their customers or that their competitors are doing, and kind of they're not trying to get one step forward and they wind up getting two steps back. So what exactly happened was they had they missed a key activity that that one of their competitors was doing. It put them in a reactive mode. They had to then scramble to address that, focus on certain feature update and functionality within their product. It was a product launch that a competitor did, and it kind of put them scrambling for for a short period of time. Whereas if they had the right information coming in and they were more on top of what was happening in the market, they would have seen this coming based on the information and based on the activities that competitor was taking. So it's really just staying on top. Like I said, you never want that email from your CEO that says, "Hey, I just saw this in the market. Did you know about this? And what are we doing to address it?" That's a key miss on the marketer's part if that happens.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jordan. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.